What's going on, everybody? Today we got some work to do on the Miata before the final points event coming up this weekend in like 4 days. We got this upper control arm that needs to go over there and replace that bent up one. If you didn't see how that happened, go check out my 5K shootout video that I just posted recently, and you'll kind of see what happened with that side. I explained that at the end of the video as well, and we got to fix up this big crunch on the passenger side fender as well. Then once we get this stuff fixed up, we have to re-go through the alignment and make sure everything is squared away. The driver's side needs to match the passenger side so that it drives straight and that we don't have any issues or contacting with the new upper control arm. All right, so we just gotta grab our 18 millimeter, and this was not very tight, this upper ball joint, so maybe that has something to do with some movement up here as well. Otherwise, just from the impact, it loosened everything up, or maybe stretched the threads. We'll get this out of here and then pull that back bolt out, and then the control arm is basically free, and then we just have to loosen up the top bolts of this coilover, and everything should kind of just pop right out. So this can kind of just hang there. That should be fine. So we'll grab a couple wrenches here and get that bolt shoved through the front, and then that can kind of just float in here. Like I said, coilover's got to come down, and then this will drop completely out of the way, I think. Otherwise, I have to remove the sway bar end link for it to fully decompress. All right, so I ended up having to take off the entire coilover from the top and bottom. Couldn't remember exactly how to get this upper control arm out. It's been 2 years since I've had to, so it doesn't look like super bad from right here, but when you look at it at this angle, that's pretty bad. Shouldn't be that twisted. So that's an impact from, you know, this side, twisting it upwards. So maybe it's not just from hitting the wheel. It's almost like, I don't know, it was twisted like this, you know? Well, anyways, we're gonna replace it. I should be able to maybe get that pressed back flat at work in like the brake press, maybe save it. The bushings are pretty screwed up though. Yeah, it took quite a beating. So now what we're gonna do is basically just take a measurement from the edge of the ball joint cup there to either the outside or the inside of this oval, which I'm just gonna go on the inside, which it's 11/16 and then 7/8 on the inside. So loosen up this one, get this one adjusted so it matches, and then we'll get this thing shoved in here and get this side buttoned up. All right, that'll do it for now. Once it's in the vehicle, bolted in, then we'll be able to fully tighten this down so it doesn't go nowhere. So it matches that one now. And then when you look at these two side to side, you can really see that difference there. This one, pretty messed up. Now we'll just get this one back in here. Probably bolt in the top here, and then we can drop the coilover back down in there. And yeah, we'll get this all buttoned up. And there you have it. Upper control arm, all bolted back in, coilovers in, everything's tight. We'll get the wheel back on and then start taking some measurements. We'll set it on the ground, check toe, check the camber, just with the carpenter square and tape measures and toe plates. As far as like caster and everything, that should all be the same. None of the marks moved, so we should be okay there. It's just making sure our camber matches and the toe is where we want it to be. And then I'll maybe check the center of the rack, or like recenter the rack just to make sure. or, you know, take a look at it at least and make sure everything is straight and, you know, even both ways. Not that it's one way or like more towards the driver's side and that's causing contacting or something weird. We'll check over everything, make sure everything's good, and then we should be all set to move on and repair that fender a little bit and wrap up for today. After thinking about it a little bit, I'm gonna actually make an adjustment to the caster just a little bit, just push it forward in the wheel well, just that little, ever so slightly forward to hopefully help with the contacting on that upper control arm in the backside. So what we're gonna be doing here, I'm gonna redo that line that's there, that yellow mark. I'm gonna put fresh white on that. We're basically gonna rotate that counterclockwise, like a half a tick mark. That's gonna be like a fraction of a degree, but it's just gonna push this forward just ever so slightly, and then that's gonna push the toe out, and then we're gonna have to pull the toe back in. So we have a couple of adjustments to do real quick. So start with that, just a little adjustment. I'm here already, might as well make that small adjustment. If I adjust this side though, I have to adjust the other side to make sure everything matches. So we're just gonna do that tiny, tiny little bit. All right, I made the adjustments. Now, it's more than just a half a tick mark, okay? And I did that for a reason. Basically from the top white mark, not on the washer, if you go just a half a tick mark, it basically like fell into a dead zone or like a dead spot on the eccentric bolt, like nothing happened and nothing changed. So I basically went until you could just see the control arm starting to move and change the position of where the wheel is gonna sit. So I turned it all the way basically flat to like 9 o'clock. So if you think of a clock, 12 o'clock is straight up and down, 9 o'clock counterclockwise, 3 is clockwise. So it's basically at 9 o'clock, clocked way down, right? And then I also changed the front one just a tiny, tiny bit, just ever so slightly, just to pull the front in to assist with pushing the back out, and it kind of helped push it forward, right? And I did this without looking at the passenger side. Now, when you go over to the passenger side, and I didn't have these ones marked, so I just marked them so you can see them. When you look at that back one, it was already basically pointed the same direction as the driver's side. And then the front is in the same location as the driver's side right now. Now, I didn't touch the passenger side eccentric bolts at all. Now, what that kind of tells me is the impact on that side was big enough to basically rotate that eccentric bolt into that dead zone and like push the control arm in and totally threw the caster out of whack on that side, because we did a full alignment on this thing. Everything should have been basically matched or like somewhat equal, and the driver's side was not even close to matching what's over here. So maybe stuff shifted that much, I would hope not. But I adjusted it, made it a little bit different. I'm most likely gonna have to get back onto an alignment rack just to confirm if something actually moved and that like my adjustments put the control arms and stuff back where they need to technically be. So we'll kind of go with that for right now. We'll have to see how it drives and how it flicks side to side. If it flicks one way faster than the other, then we know something's not right and we can kind of adjust from there. But now I have to set this thing down, get toe plates on it, and check the toe, because the toe is the last thing to adjust in your alignment. And then we can hopefully be good with just the alignment in the front. I do want to take a quick check at the rear as well, just to see if that thing moved at all, because I had some impacts back there too. So just doing a full once over on the alignment on this thing before we throw it into competition coming this weekend. All right, now we're gonna check the rack center. So I have my steering wheel straight in there, or as straight as I can visually see it. We're gonna take a measurement from right here on the rack to the outside, or like this edge of the rack spacer here, and then do the same thing this side of the rack to the outside or the inside edge of the rack spacer. Just make sure they're relatively close. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you can get that within 1/8 of an inch, that makes a big difference on how far it'll turn one way rather than the other. All right, that measured out perfect, like right on the money, 2 5/8 of an inch, both directions. So the rack is nice and center. Now we just have to make sure the steering wheel stays straight, and we have to adjust the toe. So we got to put the wheels on, drop it back down, toe plate it, and then we'll kind of see which direction we have to move it. And I might try and put a straight edge on the outside of the wheel back towards the center of the door frame and get a measurement off of there and see if one is pointed one way more than the other. That'll kind of help square us off a little bit. All right, so we got the alignment all squared away. We should be all set, ready to go for Drifting the Plains 3. I got both sides pretty square. We got just under a 1/4 inch toe out. I'm not gonna go any more than that, just to help prevent any contact. If I bend anything else, I don't have the budget this year to be able to replace anything, so we wanna keep everything straight and nice and, you know, in working order. I also checked the rear of the car. That's all good. Don't have to touch that at all. So, got this twisted arm out of the car. It's all repaired. I'm going to skip repairing this fender for right now, because if I repair it or try and get that dent out and I go to Drifting the Plains 3, there's a good chance that it's going to get smashed up again. So why have to do that twice? We'll just leave it alone for now. It's not causing any damage. It's not rubbing anywhere. We're just gonna leave it alone. So that being said, I'm gonna take this for a quick little test drive around the block off camera. Just make sure it's driving straight and not that it's pulling one direction or the other. And then, yeah, we should be all set for Drifting the Plains 3. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.